What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Gruzbee, and today I want to talk about streaming. I know, I think I can count on one hand the number of videos that I've actually made talking about streaming, but considering that I've been doing this for nearly 3 years and have recently started moving a lot of my streaming content over to YouTube, I think it's important that I make a video talking about this, especially for all of the new streamers that are going to be coming in and they're not going to really know what to expect. These are some of the things that I have learned about streaming the hard way. This October, I think, will be the 3-year anniversary of when I decided to start streaming on YouTube. And shortly thereafter, I switched to Twitch as my primary streaming outlet. That's 3 years that I've had to learn a lot of the things that I know. And honestly, I'm still learning. But I'm of the opinion, and I want to say this first of all, I'm of the opinion that anyone can be a streamer, whether you do face cam, whether you do no cam, silent streaming, virtual character streams like I do, or you just stream 24-hour footage of cute kittens. The point is, all you need is a PC that's capable of pushing out a stream and a stable internet connection and a go-get-em mental attitude, right? Well, that's what I thought when I started. Turns out there's a lot more to it than that. There are a lot of things that I wish I knew when I first began streaming, and most of them I just had to learn the hard way. Hopefully, you don't need to go through all of that. And if you like, I can offer you some great tips for streaming that I think will greatly benefit you if you are new to streaming or if you're thinking about getting into it. Now, first of all, you need to understand why you're wanting to stream. Are you doing this for a hobby, or are you in this for the long haul and hoping to make it a career? If you're in this for the fun and nothing more, if this is just something that you're going to do on the weekends with your friends, playing a few multiplayer games, then you probably don't need to pay attention to half of what this video is about. But if you're wanting to deep dive into the world of streaming as a career path, then you need to know that up front. You need to know what your motivation is, what you're planning to do with it. The difference in how you approach your streams and your audience is going to greatly depend on what type of streaming that you're going to do and why. Number 2, it is important that you present yourself as a professional. And this is something that I wish a lot of people would talk about. It just completely gets ignored most of the time, but there is a certain amount of professionalism that I think every streamer needs to remember. Something that I learned early on in making YouTube videos was that there's a huge difference in making a video on the fly, just throwing something together and trying to put a little TLC in it. And that's all I'm really saying here. When I say professionalism, it's just having a professional attitude about what you're doing. Sure, we're all here to have fun, and I'm not saying that you can't, but this is your business. And you need to conduct your business with as much professionalism as possible. And that means making sure that your sound is set up correctly. I think more than anything here, this is one of the things that a lot of streamers need to focus on and they need to worry about the most is your sound. So number 2, get your sound right. For those streamers that are doing silent streams, you might not think that this applies to you, but I assure you it does, because even if you're playing a game, you want that game to be heard. If you have alerts and you have notifications that are going off, you want those to be equally balanced. There's a lot to have to remember, and there's a lot to have to do. It's not as simple as just flipping a switch and going live. Your sound will mean the difference in people watching your streams or avoiding it like the plague. If they can't hear you, they will move on to someone else. Their time is valuable, and you are competing for it against thousands and thousands of streamers. OBS and Streamlabs each have sound indicators for your microphones and your other sources. And if you're using a mic, you want that to be about the top of the yellow area of the mixer indicator, just barely into the red. If it goes too much into the red, then you can use the built-in plugins to limit the sound from going over. Your game and other audio sources you want to be set at just the top of the green area and barely into the yellow. This is kind of the perfect balance for your voice and the game. Obviously, some games are going to be louder than others. You can't just set it and forget it. You're going to have to adjust that slider occasionally. And if you ever need to know what you're sounding like, then you can just set up your stream, start your game, and record a bit of the audio. Just record yourself. Record that before you ever go live, and then play it back and listen. If you're being drowned out by the game or your voice is too soft, you can make corrections. Third, Screen decorations. Yeah. So a few years ago, one of the things that I saw over and over again in a lot of the self-help videos and the tutorials was how to load down your screen with all of this useless decoration and what I've come to call screen bling. In all truth, most of it is really unnecessary. Sub goals, donation goals, and follow goals are something that I personally just don't use. The last thing you want to do is remind people that you need subs or donations. Whenever I see a streamer that has a donation bar that reads, help me buy, I don't know, a new $5,000 gaming PC for their overlay, I kind of cringe a little because, well, it isn't your viewer's job to buy you a new PC. And all that really does is make it look as though you only see them as a wallet and not a community of faithful viewers. You're trying to establish a following here. You're trying to establish viewers here, not make them buy your gaming rig. It's not their responsibility. If they donate, they donate. But nobody wants to be guilted into donating to you either. Fourth, and this is the one I think is going to step on a lot of toes here, and I apologize in advance, but it has to do with plugging your content. And like I said, this one is a bit tricky. One of the things that I think that we can all agree on is that follow for follow doesn't work. And this is kind of in that same vein. You know, this is one of the main reasons why I also don't like raids. I don't like getting raided. On average, I think less than 5% of the total number of followers that I've ever gotten from all of my raids have ever stuck around on my channel. And in that same turn, plugging your content on someone else's channel or Discord is essentially the same thing. Okay, it's like asking a person from someone else's community to come and join your channel. It's pilfering viewers. Even if I have permission to plug my channel or my content, I never do. I'm not there to take their followers. I'm there because I want to be part of that person's community and support that channel. I will absolutely take their viewers on the battlefield of the live streams, not their own home turf. When I'm live streaming, it's anything goes. They are the competition, and if they lose every single one of their followers to me, hey, that's not my fault. I did it fair and square. 5, streaming on Twitch versus streaming on YouTube. Really, there's not much difference. All of the stuff that you're going to do on Twitch is pretty much all the stuff that you need to do on YouTube, except for some minor differences. And that's basically going to be the environment of the platforms. There's a definite difference. Each platform feels different and it has a different mentality behind it. Twitch has this more laid back feeling, and YouTube is like the place where you need to button up your collar and adjust your necktie. However, where both platforms are becoming very similar is in DMCA claims. And this is very, very important and something that I think you need to pay attention to. Recently, Twitch, and I say recently, more in the last couple of years, Twitch has been hitting more and more streamers with DMCA claims. And typically that just means getting your audio muted in your streams or a straight up copyright strike. Your streams will get muted whenever copyright music is detected. And while that might seem like a mild thing that you can ignore, don't. It isn't. If you get too many streams that are muted, or say one of your streams has too many songs in it that gets muted, it will result in a community strike. YouTube is a little weirder and a little tougher. Game music is just actively targeted on YouTube like the gold rush of 1849, and every shady doucher on the planet will hit you with a claim to grab some of that filthy ad revenue, even if you aren't actually a YouTube partner and are monetized. YouTube, they did this to themselves, and they will eventually have to deal with it, but until they do, you need to be prepared to have a copyright claim waiting for you on almost any game you stream that has music in it. So one of the things that you should definitely do is just turn the music off. I know it sucks because that soundtrack for that game is blistering and it snaps. Don't assume that it's not your responsibility. If you need to have music, then there are a ton of places that you can go to have music playing that won't get you claimed. I even got a playlist of free audio that I will list on my Discord for those that want to have something for their streams as part of an initiative for new streamers that would like some resources for their channels, as well as some other things that I'll be adding later on. Lastly, webcams. I know there's probably a ton of videos already talking about webcams, and I really don't want to add to that, but it is one of the things that I obsessed with early on when I was doing my streams back when I did face cam. But suffice it to say, webcams need a lot of light. Some webcams are better than others, and due to that and the nature of your environment will determine how much more or less light you will need. If you want to see a video detailed on some best lighting suggestions, then I will put a video in the description for you to watch on that subject from a channel called Alpha Gaming. Go check it out. Really, really smart, helpful. Go watch it. A good best practice that I can say if you are going to be using a webcam is to just be close to your camera. Don't sit across the room in the dark where you can't be seen or where you can't be heard. Be close and be personable to your audience. You are selling a product here, and that product is you. There are probably a dozen other things that I should mention in this video, but for now, these are some of the more important ones that I can think of. And of course, I'll be making a video on VTubing and virtual character streaming later on for those of you that are looking to get into that. But for now, I think a lot of these tips will work for that as well. Most importantly, and above everything else, if you take nothing from this video, remember to just have fun. I really do believe that everyone can be a streamer, but more than what game you play or what content you make, remember to have a good time. Success isn't measured in number of views or followers or YouTube subs. It's measured in whether or not you had fun. If you would like to take this conversation further, then definitely consider joining my Discord. I'll be happy to share some resources for new streamers. And if you become a member of my Patreon, you'll get access to not only a members only section of the Discord, but you will have access to overlay packages as well as exclusive resources for streamers and content creators alike. In the meantime, have an amazing day, everyone. Keep being awesome, and I will see you all in the next video.